Hey everyone, and welcome to the Colorado Trail. I have been really excited for this video blog thing, and I just want to explain why I'm out here, why I'm hiking this trail, what I hope to get out of this experience, and how this fits into what I want to be doing long term, and also how it doesn't. This is not what I want to be doing all the time ultimately, but it's working for me right now. So I guess why I'm here is it's a lot better than working working for money, working behind a computer. So I did this whole web development thing for a lot of years, and my goal is always to not have to do that, not have to sit behind a computer every day, and I want to do stuff that I actually enjoy doing all day. It's just there's some basic realities that I had to pay rent, and you need money for everything. You know, we need money for food, to travel, for a place to live, and so I needed a constant income stream for a long time. But my goal was to get out of that lifestyle, so I basically just saved up as much money as I possibly could, and kind of have a bunch of savings that it allows me to take time off. And I designed my whole lifestyle to do that. I've avoided going into debt, and so now I have all this time to take off. The conundrum that I'm facing, which I guess I didn't really expect, was I have all this time off with nothing to do all day, but like everyone I know is just working all the time. So I have all this free time in this big beautiful planet, but I don't have a lot of people to enjoy it with. So that's been a big problem, and I want to start to get at that problem, this fundamental problem of we need to be able to enjoy life every day on a daily basis. We need to be able to actually enjoy the work that we do, and we need to be able to spend our time with people that we love and we care about, and not just doing things just because we need the paycheck. So that's really why I'm out here, because this is much healthier for me than sitting behind a computer. But I just faced this hard decision where I could have lived in the city where I have a lot of friends, but I just don't like that lifestyle. So I'm out here by myself. So that's really the challenge of this, is doing this by myself. But with this video blog, I hope to stay in touch with you all, and I want to talk about how I have been putting more effort into staying in touch with everyone, and cultivating these relationships, and how I came to understand the importance of that. So anyway, I'm just really happy that I can share this experience with people this time around. And so I want to show you the beauty of this trail. And I want to also just show you this whole backpacking thing. It's been quite a process for me to learn this, and it's like, how do you survive out in the mountains, for days at a time? So it's not as hard as you might think, but so that's really what I want to accomplish with this blog, this video blog / podcast, if you're listening. And I want to talk more about this problem. Why is everyone working all the time? And how we can start to transform our lives into being actually enjoyable. So I have some plans for myself, and that can involve other people. So I want to start planting these ideas in people's heads. This is a beautiful world, and I want to show you that on this trail. And we need our lives to start reflecting that, because we all deserve to be happy and fulfilled every day. So that's kind of the manifesto, and the there's a car going. So that's like the framework of this blog. So just sit back and relax and enjoy the trail, and I'm just going to sprinkle in these monologues along the way. All right, the sun hoodie is on, so we're getting serious. I'm almost at mile 2, so making progress. I wanted to just give an overview of the Colorado Trail. For those who don't know, probably a lot of you have no idea what that is or what I'm starting right now. So it's a 480-mile trail that goes from Denver to Durango in Colorado. And 300 of those miles are along the Continental Divide, which is the mountain range that separates water that flows into the Pacific and the Atlantic Oceans. And I actually have hiked that 300-mile section before in 2021. There's a different trail called the Continental Divide Trail, which goes all the way from Mexico to Canada, and it follows this Continental Divide geographic feature through the US. So that's 3,000 miles. I hiked the Colorado part of that, which was, well, almost the whole Colorado part. I went from New Mexico to Rocky Mountain National Park, which was close to 600 miles. So that's a big number to a lot of people. To the people who are out here, that's the Colorado Trail, you know, it's like it could be a casual thing, depending on your experience level. So so how am I walking 480 miles in the mountains? It really just comes down to breaking it down into a manageable distance every day. So this first stretch is 70 miles. So that's, I say the first stretch, that's basically, I'm starting in Denver, and then I have a 5-day supply of food in my backpack, and I have to get more food somewhere. So I sent food ahead to myself to Jefferson, Colorado, which is at about mile 70. So I'm giving myself 5 days to get there, which is about 14 miles per day. And that is a big number. That would have been a big number for me before I started doing all of this, but I've really been working on just my physical health and getting my pack weight down for a long time. This has been like a 6-year process for me to get to this point where I'm not worried about that at all. And so I'll get into all that throughout this trip, talking about that process and what I've learned. But the Colorado Trail, so the whole thing is 480 miles, and it's just a really beautiful trail. You're just up in the mountains, you're way above tree line a lot. There's a lot of 14ers. I'm planning on doing at least one, maybe a couple more. And the big challenge is this monsoon. So you can probably see it's pretty cloudy today, and it's just every afternoon there's a thunderstorm pretty much. And that especially becomes challenging in the southern part of the trail, where a lot of the trail is above tree line. So you have to get your miles in before noon, which is when the thunderstorms start. And to be safe, you should be below tree line, camping below tree line. So it's not such a big deal for the first part of the trip. So I'm expecting the whole thing to take about 5 or 6 weeks. And I'm doing about 15 miles per day on this thing. I would say, well, everyone hikes a different distance. You know, people who are doing the whole Continental Divide Trail or the whole Pacific Crest Trail or Appalachian Trail, they get up into the 20 mile per day range. So this is kind of just to have a fun time. It'll be a challenge, but I also want to be able to relax and just enjoy the experience and enjoy being outside every day. So that is what I'm starting. Okay, this is the first meal of the trail, and food's kind of a big deal out here. I get very hungry and burning a lot of calories every day, and it's hard to eat enough food in the first place, and then you're limited to the food that you can eat because it has to be shelf stable. So I'm experimenting with some new ideas this time, and this is like a late breakfast for me today. So what I have here is a chia seed pudding. So this is just chia seeds and coconut milk powder soaked in this container while I was walking. And I first heard about this idea in the book Born to Run 2, this chia seed pudding. And then shout out to my friend Courtney, who reminded me of this great idea. She eats this for breakfast, and you can put other toppings and stuff in there. So what I made was, I had a lot of time to prep food for this trail. So this is it's called cashew chew. It's basically cashew butter in a Ziploc bag, but no, there's other stuff added in there. So there's honey and coconut, and there's other stuff in there that I can't even remember. Probably some dates and sea salt. So I'm mixing this into the chia seed pudding, which I maybe took a risk, and this is basically what I'm planning on eating every morning, and just mixing up the toppings that I put in there. So the idea behind this chia seed pudding is that I'm going to give you my high-fat, low-carb food rant or monologue, just because it's helped me out so much. I first encountered this idea in this book that's called The Big Book of Endurance Training, which is by an endurance coach named Phil Maffetone. I'm going to try to eat while I'm talking about the food. I'm hungry. So the whole thing is that when you're doing endurance events and you're doing a low intensity aerobic activity for a long period of time, your body is actually burning fat. So in our typical diet, we're eating a lot of carbs. And so I used to just eat oatmeal every morning, whole grain oats, thinking that was healthy. But what I found out was that raises your blood, these carbs raise your blood sugar. So eating a big bowl of oatmeal, which I was doing every morning, it raises your blood sugar like you just ate a big bowl of ice cream. So in his book, again, it's The Big Book of Endurance Training by Phil Maffetone. I have mailed a lot of you a copy of this because I'm so passionate about it, and it's helped me out so much, and it took me so long to find it. It would have helped me years ago. He explains all the negative effects on your body of this constant spike of your blood sugar, and it causes insulin to be released constantly, and it basically leads to inflammation. And I was dealing with tendinitis for a long time, and I switched to this high-fat, low-carb diet that's very high in fruits and vegetables. So my staple breakfast became basically eggs and avocados every morning instead of oatmeal. And the first thing I noticed was that I used to get really drowsy every day and just feel like I had to take a nap. And that went away almost immediately when I switched this diet. And then over the winter, so this was like at least maybe 4 or 5 or 6 months, that was what I was eating, with vegetables in the morning and then drinking coffee. You all know about my coffee. I wouldn't say it's an obsession, but I like coffee. That's been part of this diet. So I drink coffee with a lot of healthy fats in there. I'm trying matcha on the trail this time just because it's better for backpacking. So then for dinner, my staple dinner just became a big salad with all different fruits and vegetables. So Phil Maffetone, he says, when you go to the grocery store, get fruits and get vegetables of all different colors, because all the different colors have different nutrients. So I would just get like all these random vegetables I'd never eaten before, and eating radishes are really good. So like radishes and different greens, beets, carrots, sauerkraut. I would try to just mix it up, and then you put a healthy fat in there. So he likes goat cheese. Or I would be eating steak and salmon and put olive oil on that with some seasonings and salt and everything. So it looked beautiful. It's just this big, beautiful salad I was eating, and it's all fresh fruits and vegetables. So he talks in the book about just how important it is to have all these nutrients in your body for long-term health. And it tasted delicious. You can also just buy, like I was buying sardines in a can, and there's no prep required, and you just put them on the salad. So the result of all that was that I actually just hiked the Arizona Trail from late March through late May, which is an 800-mile trail. And I've done a lot of these trails in the past, and I've always had some sort of tendinitis, some lingering pain. So like my knee would start hurting, or I had this Achilles tendinitis for a couple of years. And when I started hiking in preparation for this Arizona Trail after doing this high-fat, low-carb diet, I pretty much stopped eating grains as much as possible, which was a huge change for me. I was hiking and walking pain-free without Achilles tendinitis for the first time in years, and that was the biggest change I had made. So I really attribute it to this diet. It's a low inflammation diet, and I think it would address a lot of these chronic health problems that a lot of people have in the US, diabetes and heart disease. Something else Phil Maffetone says about the grocery store is that you basically should never have to walk into any of the aisles in the store. You want to walk around the edge of the store, because that's where the vegetables are and these healthy meats and eggs. And when I go to the grocery store now, I look in the aisles, it's all just garbage. It's a bunch of cereal and potato chips and pretzels and all this stuff, which has basically no nutritional value. There's a huge profit margin there for the companies that are making that stuff, and it's eating all these carbs has a lot of bad effects on your body. And so that's my personal experience with this thing, and that's why I'm so passionate about this high-fat, low-carb diet. So this chia seed pudding, it fits into that because the chia seeds are a high-fat, low-carb food, and then you got the coconut milk in there, so that has a lot of fat in it. And these are all good things for you. So that's what I was realizing, was just I was only putting good things into my body. And it's like when we get sick, we take medicine, but when we're just living normal life, I was putting a lot of harmful stuff into my body every day without even really realizing it. So now I hiked the entire Arizona trail, and I honestly felt I felt better when I finished the trail than when I started, and I never felt so good physically when I finished that thing. So that's my experience with the high-fat, low-carb diet. And I'll probably keep talking about it throughout the trail. Again, if you know me personally, I tend to go on and on about this, but it's really important, and it's part of this idea of becoming happy and making our lives enjoyable every day. If we feel good physically, then you're going to just feel better overall, and that's what I have been able to achieve, and the diet has been a huge part of that. Okay, back on the trail, and the Colorado Trail starts out in Waterton Canyon, which is south of Denver. So the trail starts out around 5,000 feet, which when you live in other places, you always hear Denver's the mile-high city and all that. You think it's really high elevation, but really it's not that high for Colorado. And Denver was going to be in the 90s today, and this area is going up into the upper 80s apparently, was the forecast. So it could be getting pretty warm. I actually just took a dip in the water here. I'm walking next to the South Platte River, and that felt really good. So I'm staying cool. I'm hoping it's going to cloud up later. Gotten kind of lucky with the clouds this morning, so it's keeping the temperatures down. But the trail is going to gradually climb up to a higher elevation. I should be getting up close to 7,000 feet today. And then over the course of this first 5-day stretch, I think the trail goes up to 8,000 or 9,000 feet, and that's pretty much where it stays the whole rest of the trail. Long stretches of the trail are above 10,000 feet, and at the end it's even getting up to 11,000 and 12,000 consistently. The high point on the trail is over 13,000 feet. So the heat's going to be maybe an issue today and tomorrow, but after that it won't be such a problem, and I'll be up in the mountains, which will be cool. But this is a really scenic canyon. I've never been here before, and you can see the water. There's a lot of bikers and joggers out here. So yeah, so far so good. Okay, I have climbed out of Waterton Canyon, and I'm in the woods now, which is pretty nice. There's lots of shade from trees, and I made it up to around 6,000 feet. So it was pretty warm a few minutes ago, but now that it's clouding up, temperature has gone down, and it's not so bad out. And I'm about to come up to a creek and fill up my water bottle. Okay, I just filled up my bottle here with some very cold water flowing in this stream right here. And this is the first piece of gear I wanted to show you. This is an essential piece of backpacking gear, which is the Sawyer Squeeze water filter. And it's pretty simple to use. You can just screw it onto the top of a water bottle. These smart water bottles are very popular with thru hikers, and they're very durable and lightweight. And then this just I just kind of squeeze it and drink straight out of there. You can also just filter a bunch of water at one time if you wanted to. And there's also an attachment to do a gravity filter with this thing. So you would just hang a bag in a tree, and gravity would pull the water through the filter. So it weighs 2 ounces, and it's really durable. It lasts a long time. So it comes with a syringe that you just you basically backwash it. So you put the syringe on the end of the filter where the water comes out, and flush water through it in reverse. And if you do that regularly, it really doesn't get clogged. It costs $40, and this thing really works. This is nice clear water, but on the Arizona trail the water sources were a lot worse, and I never got sick. So that's the Sawyer Squeeze. So you may have wondered how I knew that that there was water coming up on the trail. And So I have a bunch of navigational tools I use. This thing is great. It's the Colorado Trail Data Book, and the Colorado Trail Association, the Colorado Trail Foundation, they do a great job with all the resources and the signs and the maintenance of the trail. So this thing, if I can show you, it basically has all of the different landmarks. So it has a little map of the segment that you're on, and then it tells you the mileage. So I knew I had just passed a trail sign for a side trail, and so I knew exactly what mile I was at, and I could see that like 0.7 miles ahead there was this reliable water source, which it also tells you how reliable the water sources are. So then I used this other tool. It's an iPhone app called Far Out, a smartphone app. And so that's a GPS map that shows the entire route, and it has all of the water sources on there, all of the GPS coordinates, and then people can write comments. So this next water source I'm coming up to in about a mile is not always running, but I checked that app and people wrote just a few days ago that the water is flowing. So that saves me a lot of carrying water for no reason, and so that's really handy. And then I also just have this National Geographic map set. So this is I don't know how much I'm actually going to look at it, but it has a lot more elevation data, and it tells you, so the yellow line there is the Colorado Trail, so it gives you just a bigger overview of the whole area around here. It would be more helpful if I was hiking some other trails around here or going off trail, because you can see the contour lines which tell you the elevation of the geography. But I have this just in case, and it gives you something to look at while I'm sitting here on the campsite at night. So that's how I know where I'm going. I'm eating my second meal of the day here, and this is something new for me. Like I said, I spent a lot of time preparing food for this trip, and a lot of that time was spent dehydrating food. So for lunch on this trip, I am rehydrating vegetables that I dehydrated. So I have kale. I dehydrated a bunch of kale, and again, I just poured water in this container and hiked with that for about an hour. So the kale is rehydrated. It's a little bit chewy, but it's kale, and I saved a bunch of money. I've been buying kale chips from like organic food stores, and it's like $5 or $6 for like a 2-ounce bag of kale chips. So so that's that. And then what's in there, that is homemade salmon jerky, which is delicious. I never realized that jerky is just dehydrated raw meat. So that was just, I bought a bunch of salmon. I bought like 4 pounds of salmon, and I just dehydrated it all. I marinated it in some soy sauce and some other like lemon juice and just a couple spices overnight. And then I had it in the dehydrator. I had it in there for like 24 hours. It was only supposed to take 8 or 9, but I made it really dry because I've shipped food ahead to myself, like I mentioned, so this needs to stay good for a few weeks. So it's very oily, which people were saying that the fat can go rancid. So I'm trying to eat up the salmon jerky towards the start of the meal. Everything, I vacuum sealed everything, which should help it last longer. And then the other thing I have is this concoction of basically a salad dressing. So it looks kind of gross, but this is olive oil and garlic and ginger that I blended up, and I put some salt in there as well. So I'm dumping that all over this kale and salmon jerky, and it's not something I would probably make at home, but it's as far as trail food goes, it's again, it's only good stuff for me. I'm not gonna lie, it's the salmon jerky is great. The kale is so-so, and I probably should have added more salt to the dressing. But I think it'll get the job done, and it fits in line with my diet. And so, yeah, we'll see. The plan is to eat this for lunch almost every day for like the next 5 or 6 weeks. So I'm sure I'll be getting tired of it at some point. But so yeah, that's my lunch. I'm calling it a day for day one as far as the hiking goes. I've made it about 11 and a half miles up the trail, and Stopping a little bit short today just because it's mostly been uphill, and the backpack is always the heaviest right when you leave town because I have the 5-day supply of food. So that'll get lighter as the days go by. And I think I'm feeling the altitude a little bit. I have like a slight headache, and I am up probably around 6,000 or 7,000 feet right now. And I've spent most of the last few weeks at closer to sea level. So I'm stopping for the day, and I just set up my tarp, so I'm going to show you what that looks like. This is my shelter setup. It's a tarp and bivy combo, which is like a good ultralight combination. So the idea here is that the tarp will protect you from the rain for the most part, but it's not going to protect you if there's rain blowing in from the sides and it's really windy. So that's what the bivy is for. So the bivy is basically like a sack that goes around your sleeping bag. I'm trying to get a good shot of it, but so it's like this nylon sack that the sleeping bag and your sleeping pad goes in. I have my sleeping bag in there, not the pad yet. And it's got a bug net on it. That's the part at the top. So it protects me from mosquitoes. And the advantage of this setup is that it's really lightweight. Combined, these weigh about 12 ounces. The tarp is, I think, 7 ounces, and the bivy sack is 5, if I remember correctly. So it's really light. It packs down to almost nothing. And it works. When the last time I hiked in Colorado, it was one of the worst monsoon, or the most rain. It was like a record-breaking monsoon season as far as the rain goes. And I'm gonna turn the camera back on myself. Okay, so we're inside the fort here. So so like I said, the first time I ever used this combo, it was like the rainiest monsoon in one of the rainiest monsoons in Colorado history. And this thing worked. It's just if it's going to be really windy, you have to tie the sides down really low. So the height, you basically, I would just put this guy line lower down on this tree. And I like to use a tree for at least one of the anchor points because A, it makes the tarp easier to set up. I will do like a time lapse of me setting it up at some point, but B, like the tree's not going to go anywhere. And I have had stakes pull out of the ground on me. It's happening less frequently now that I kind of know what I'm doing more. So that's one of the stakes I use. But the other way, so then the other guy line is actually just a hiking stick. And so again, this is an ultralight option because I have the hiking sticks with me already, so I'm not carrying extra poles to set this thing up. So so this works really well. It's like barely enough space to keep me dry and my sleeping bag dry. So this right here, it's if I really thought it was gonna rain, I would set it up a lot lower. And maybe it will rain. It's just it's not looking so bad, and even if it does, it's not that cold. And I don't think it's gonna rain all night, so I wasn't so worried about having like the perfect, most secure setup here. So there's a range of how weatherproof you can make this thing. I had to get a little creative with the tie down points. So this is actually just around a big rock because this spot where there was flat enough space for me to lay was a little bit cramped, but I like the spot. It's very scenic, and I even had a cell signal, so that was cool. And this is the trail right here. So that's the basic setup. So I want to do more of a total teardown of my bag and show you every single thing that's in there. It's just I'm gonna kind of space out all these ideas I have for the video blog over the course of the whole trail, and I don't want the first episode to be too long. So I'm gonna show you more and explain why I picked the sleeping bag I did and all that, probably in later episodes. But yeah, so here I am. This is the campsite for night number 1, and I'm pretty happy with it. So you never know what the weather will do up here, but it really hasn't rained at all yet today, and maybe we'll get a thunderstorm tonight or something, but I don't know. We'll see. I'm about to heat up my dinner here, and I thought I would show you that process. So this is a backpacking stove, and basically the way this works is you get these fuel canisters, and then this little stove just screws onto the top of the fuel canister, and then you just light it. So when you turn this knob, then the stove will start letting fuel through, and this one actually has a little ignition on there, but you can also just use a lighter to light this thing. So usually takes a bunch of, there we go. So that's the flame, and then I have my food here. It's this dehydrated turkey chili that I've been letting it soak so that it will rehydrate faster. I don't know if you can see that or not. But yeah, so basically I just put it on this thing. I'm gonna bring that to a boil and then just let it sit for probably 5 or 10 minutes until it's rehydrated, and hopefully I will have some delicious chili. Okay, so I have heated up this food and rehydrated this beautiful chili that I have here. And this is my first attempt dehydrating my own food for the trail. So that was a whole process, but you basically just cook any kind of food you want and you get a dehydrator, which they're not very expensive. It's like less than $100. And you just spread, so this was chili, so I just spread it out on trays in the dehydrator and you just dry it. It took a long time. I would say close to 10 hours per batch, and you have to like stir it. So that was a lot of work, but I'm really happy with the result right now. It's like I just have a home-cooked meal right in front of me. So I've never really had this quality of food on the trail before, and again, it's way cheaper. You can buy these freeze-dried meals, but there's no way it would be this good. So I'm really happy with how this is tasting. So I'm pretty much done for the day here. Still probably another hour till sunset, but I'm eating some homemade fudge, which it's very tasty, and it's all healthy stuff. It's from that Phil Maffetone book I mentioned earlier. So I have a lot of free time out here, and I'm working on learning Spanish, so that's going to be a good project for this trail, and I'll explain later why I'm trying to learn Spanish. But that's keeping me busy, and it's definitely clouding up. That's why I went to the Tarp. I thought it was going to start raining, but still hasn't happened. So it's kind of it. You know, it's a slow-paced way of life, and I'll be doing this for the next month to a little bit more than a month. Okay, I'm calling it a day here. It seems like the storm's finally blowing in, but I'm about to go to sleep, so I'm gonna try to upload this tomorrow. And let me know your feedback. Leave a comment on YouTube or on the subreddit, or just text me. You know, let me know if you have any other questions I didn't answer or anything else. I'd like to make this more interactive as the trail goes on. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode.